Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a book that honestly really challenges how most of us think about wealth in America. We're talking about The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko. And this deep dive, it's pretty much going to flip the script on what rich actually looks like, reveals a surprising truth about who real millionaires are. Okay, let's unpack this. So when you hear the word millionaire, what pops into your head? Is it, the flashy cars, designer suits, fancy restaurants? That's kind of the image we usually get, right?
Yeah, that's the common picture. But what's fascinating here is just how much that cultural idea of wealth is. Well, different from the reality for most wealthy people. According to this research, the book actually shows that the majority of America's millionaires, they live pretty modest lives, disciplined, really frugal, actually. They're mostly self-made, very value-oriented, and often you wouldn't pick them out of a crowd. They just blend into regular middle-class neighborhoods.
Huh. So they get rich quietly.
Exactly, without needing to show it off.
And that observation, it leads right into the book's main message, doesn't it? That it's not just what you earn, but really what you manage to keep. Such a simple idea, but wow, the impact.
No, absolutely. The big takeaway quote really says it all. Wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about the bigger picture, it shows that building wealth, it's less about having a massive income and much, much more about having a disciplined financial plan. It really hinges on consistent saving, smart investing over the long haul. And this is key, avoiding that trap of, status spending to look wealthy.
Right, the pressure to keep up. Okay, so digging a bit deeper than just the philosophy, they talk about specific types of people, right? They use these terms, PAWs and UAWs. Prodigious accumulators of wealth. And
Under
yes.
accumulators. That's right. Pause, prodigious accumulators of wealth. These are the folks who are really good at turning their income into actual net worth. They save, they invest a good chunk of what comes in. UAWs, the under accumulators, well, they might earn a lot, sometimes very high incomes, but they don't build much wealth because their spending basically eats it all up.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The book says a lot of high-income professionals, like doctors or lawyers, actually end up as UAWs. How does that happen? You'd think they'd be set.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive, but it often comes down to what the authors call lifestyle inflation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like as your income goes up, so does your spending. Bigger house, nicer car, more expensive stuff.
Right.
That constant increase in expenses just prevents real wealth from building up, even with a good salary.
Yeah.
There's just not much left over to save or invest.
Okay, that makes sense. And then there's this other concept they brought up, economic outpatient care. What's that about?
Ah, yes, economic outpatient care. It basically refers to parents giving significant financial help to their adult children. Now, it's almost always done with the best intentions, of course,
Sure.
but the research suggests it can sometimes, unintentionally, make it harder for those adult kids to become financially independent themselves. They don't learn to manage their own money as effectively.
Hmm. Interesting point. So it can kind of hinder their own wealth-building journey.
It can, yeah. It might make them more dependent in the long run.
And just quickly, to help you kind of figure out where you stand, they even give you a simple wealth formula, right?
They do. It's a really straightforward benchmark. You take your age, multiply it by your pre-tax annual income, and then divide by 10. That number gives you a sort of target net worth for someone in your age and income bracket. And what the study showed was that most of these millionaires next door were way above that benchmark number. It shows how good they were at accumulating wealth relative to their income. It's a neat little self-check.
Yeah, a good reality check. So this book really does feel like a wake-up call, doesn't it? For anyone who wants to be actually wealthy, not just, look the part. It definitely challenges you listening to maybe rethink your own relationship with money, maybe question that social pressure to spend, and see how these real millionaires budget, invest, and just quietly build wealth. So, wrapping up our look at The Millionaire Next Door, it seems pretty clear that becoming rich, for most people anyway, isn't really about luck or some big inheritance. It boils down to discipline, certain values, and just consistency.
Absolutely. And maybe this raises an important question for you, for everyone listening. If you really adopted this mindset shift, focus seriously on accumulating rather than just spending, what could that actually mean for your financial future? What might be possible?
That's a powerful thought. So what does this all mean for your approach to building lasting wealth? Something to think about.